All right, I am joined by John Brideaux, the Blue Dot from Texas. This is my mystery guest. The secret got out, and so yeah, I'm so excited to have him here.
I'm excited to be here. Just culmination on this trip, it was Knoxville. I wanted to come to Knoxville here to see my family, and staying up the road. And all of a sudden, I find out this guy's just about 30 minutes up the road. So I was tickled to death. Quit doing that here.
Yep.
Make that quit doing that. That's my son over here. He's my tech guy. He's going to take care of my phone so it don't make messes. I am tickled to death to be here. But first, let me caveat by saying, on the way here, I have not been in such a beautiful place as it is here out in East Tennessee.
Yeah.
And the color change right now is in full swing. My son and I are enjoying this trip as much as we can. All of you, most of you know why I'm on this trip. But yeah, I've had a great time meeting people around the country, and I'm overwhelmed sometimes with the love that has been shown throughout this country. But to top it off by getting to meet Tennessee Brideaux, are you shitting me? I'm in his house, baby.
Yeah, it's so awesome. When he told me where he was, I was like, "Crap, you're like 30 minutes from me."
No
and,
shit.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, well, hell, he's right up the road.
You gotta come out. So I'm so excited to have him here. It's awesome, and we've been talking for about an hour before we went live and comparing landscapes. When I go to Texas, I'm fascinated by the flatness, by like the fact that you could, like Waylon Jennings said.
Fascinated isn't the right word there.
Yeah, but like Waylon Jennings said, out there you can watch your dog leave, and you can watch him go for 3 days. Around here, you got mountains everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's.
I'm enjoying it. The scenery here is outstanding. And as you all know, Tennessee Brideaux here lives in a pretty red area. Mm-hmm. So there are plenty of Trump signs on our way in. But every time we see a Harris Wall sign, oh, baby, they're here. They're here, and they're everywhere in this country. Everywhere we have gone, every red state that we have always talked about, we've traveled through, and there are Harris Wall signs. Yeah. And my favorite sign was one that said, "I'm a Republican, not a fool. I'm voting for Harris."
That is awesome.
What have we got? 9 days left?
I think so, man.
9 days, baby.
We're right.
History's going to be made.
We're counting it down, man. And I tell you, the thing about I've told a lot of my viewers around on here a lot of times. We like in 2016, man, this place was just drowning in Trump flags and signs, and there's still some there, and I've seen more appear closer to the election, but I don't feel the excitement like I did before in 2016. And when I see a Harris Wall sign, there's one right down the road now. And I'm going to get John out here in a little bit and drive him around and show him some sights, and we may see a few more. So I don't think people outside this area understands just how what it means for us to see a Harris Wall sign. When we see one, it's like, wow. It's like it's a conversation.
Oh, look, not everybody around here is an idiot.
Exactly. Yeah. Because
like that kind of thing.
We know, and I'm sure it's the same way where you're at. I know all the Blue Dots right here in my town. I know them all on a first name basis.
Right.
Because we've all found each other. And so the minute one of us sees a sign, we're in there going like, "Hey, there's a sign down the road." So, so yeah.
Well, most of my, just about all my Blue Dot family knows where I live. A mile down my road, I live at the end of it, and it's all Trump all the way down there. With what Brandon and I do, sometimes it's not popular to advertise anything. And so I've never put out a sign in my yard.
Yeah,
I haven't ever put a sign in my yard. And on this trip, I was given a Harris Wall sign by some dear friends. And when I get home, baby, I'm putting that in my front yard. I'm going to go out there and put it proudly out there. We got 9 days left of this. Like I said, history's going to be made. And this is going to be one for the ages, baby. You're going to be able to look back at this as long as we can. Most of my followers are old like me. But I'm going to be proud to make history here, baby. And I know we're going to have the first Madam President. But I also know that's not going to be the end of it, because we're going to hear the same whining and crying out of him that we heard last time. Yeah. So hold on to your britches, baby. It ain't over.
Yeah, that's what I've said so many times. We're in for it. We're in for the long haul. I tell people we're just kind of kicking the can down the road when we win, because they're not the people that wrote Project 2025. It's not like they're going to say, "Oh, you guys got us. We'll see you later. We'll try to do better next time." That's not what they're going to do. They're going to come. They're going to keep coming for it, and we got to stay focused and always just keep our eye on democracy.
That's it, because that's what's on the line here.
Yeah,
is democracy and I don't want to sound corny. I just made a trip across country. Last night Donald was out on some campaign somewhere, and he used the line that America is a garbage can. Baby, I just drove across this country. I didn't see a garbage can. Everywhere I have been, people have been nice to me, cordial to me. This country is not going to be tossed aside by a man the likes of Trump. This country is as grand as it ever has been, but we're not there yet. I say that all the time. We're still going up the hill, baby.
Yeah.
We have not reached the pinnacle of what we want this country to be. But it's been the fight of many patriots before us that got us here, and we can't drop the ball now, baby. We have to pick it up and keep moving forward with it. So
yeah, and we were talking before we started, John, that it's so crazy seeing the Republican Party make the arguments they make these days. If a Republican candidate had came along 20 years ago and called America a garbage can, that would have been the end of his career.
He would have been gone.
He would have been gone. I mean, you go back in time. I make this point so many times on my channel because I just think about it all the time. But it's like there was a time that Howard Dean just simply screamed at a rally and it ended his career.
That's it.
George H.W. Bush was president and looked at his watch too many times during the debate with Clinton, and they said he was done. So a guy called us, said we were like a garbage can, and the Republican Party allowed that guy to get in the door. How did that happen?
I don't know. That's what Brandon and I were talking about earlier. Is the whole Republican Party has lost its way since Trump came in. Especially, it's tossed aside every value that they've ever claimed to have and held up proudly as their God bless America, all that good stuff. And I don't know how you can reconcile supporting a man like Trump and at the same time still trying to claim those values.
Exactly.
So what they've done is tossed the values out the window, and we can't let that happen. This country it's a great country. And we are not as divided as we think, as the news would have you believe. If you listen to the news, this is a neck-and-neck race. I don't think so, baby. I think we're going to see an overwhelming support for Kamala Harris.
I do too.
And we're going to have the first Madam President. I'm loving it.
I really do. So, John, I want to ask you, how'd you come to be the Blue Dot in Texas? What was your start on social media? Because I think we kind of got a similar story as to how it all unfolded, but how did that come about for you?
My very first video, long before I became a Blue Dot in Texas, that came later when I opened my YouTube channel, but my first excursion into it was just on Facebook.
Yeah.
And just on my page. Now, mind you, I had been in a family for a very long time, and anybody didn't know my politics back in those days. Just didn't discuss it. There was more important things in life than that. But when Trump came on the scene and during the campaign in 2016, you could see the handwriting on the wall that this is not going to go well for America anyway. When he was elected and sworn in, I turned on my camera and I went out in my backyard and I just let it go. Yeah. And I was telling Brandon earlier, I was tickled to death. Oh, look at that, 50 people, look at it. I was tickled to death, man. And, but the passion inside me, it was the first time I ever had anything that deep in my heart. And I have 26 years with this country in service, and this upset me. I wear the T-shirt all the time. Some gave all gave some. All gave some gave all. One had bone spurs. I like to wear that shirt.
Yeah.
It says everything I need to say about it. Anyway, I got lost in my thought here again. But I couldn't stop. Every day I wanted to do a video because every day there was something out there that man said that just pissed you off.
Yeah.
And, there's a cost to what Brandon does, what I do, what Texas Paul does, what other people do. There's a price you're going to pay for that. But the payoff is it's in your heart. You're standing up for the right thing. Your integrity is not challenged. These people's integrity is challenged. And I just kept on. And finally, people started listening more and more. And we started, I started the Blue Dot in Texas when my son created my YouTube channel. And he said, well, what do you want to call yourself? Mm-hmm. And I just thought, I had never seen this before anywhere else, a blue dot. And that's what I consider myself in my area. I am just a small blue dot. And that's all I am. Well, guess what, baby? That's what you are. I don't care where you live. That single vote, that one blue dot, mm-hmm. When you back up, baby, that's where the picture comes in. The pixels all come together, and you see the big picture. So I called myself a blue dot in Texas, and That's what I've been ever since.
Yeah.
But I'm proud of it and what it has become and what it has stood for. And just like you and the people that follow you, you get a certain pride out of that because of where you live.
Yeah.
You're not used to that. And you do take a risk putting your voice out there. And
Yeah.
but some risks are worth taking.
Yeah, and I'm sure you probably got the same thing that I've got. And Texas Paul, we've talked about it. He got the same thing. A lot of people stumbled across your videos and saw you and just thought you were a redneck from Texas,
Yeah.
I'm sure,
Yeah,
and then was disappointed when they heard the words come out of your mouth. But I've actually had people accuse me of being a paid actor. They
Really?
think, yeah, they think I'm acting. They think the whole thing.
Who's paying you for
yeah,
that?
I'd love to know. But yeah, I get that a lot, and I get like, oh, you don't really believe that, or you're just doing it for clicks, or you're just doing it for likes. I'm like, listen, if I was just out to do something for clicks and likes on social media, then I'd be doing something like Johnny Knoxville and
Playing
Jackass or playing music. Yeah, I'd be doing that. I wouldn't be talking about the issues at hand. I just feel like everything is way more. It's way too important to stay quiet.
There it is in a nutshell. We all have things in our life that we either enjoy or we have to deal with. But there are things that come along in a lifetime that you have to take a stand on. This is not something that you can waver on. This is, I remind people, as corny as it sounds, it's everything that America is supposed to be. And we can be no less diligent in standing up for it than those that came before us and those that will come after us, because this fight won't be over.
Yeah.
Brandon just mentioned Project 2025. You think that's going to go? No, they'll just change the numbers.
Yeah.
And they'll come back again. So always diligent, baby. We always have to be mindful of what we're going to leave those that come behind us. And for me, last night that number increased by 1. So I became a great uncle last night to a new child born into our family, and we couldn't be happier.
Well, that's awesome. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Unexpected, because the baby wasn't expected for several more weeks, but you know how women are. Don't figure.
Had to spring it early.
Yeah, had to come up something.
But so you was telling me before we started, you retired from the military. Was it 2000, 2001?
2001.
And what was it like? I mean, in the military, like we talked about, kind of also about politics and how there was a time where we weren't paying as close attention. So what was it like back then, being in the military, and what was elections like back then to you?
All through, to caveat there, it's about 26 years total service in the military. I did 10 years active duty for the Navy, and then I did 16 working as a civilian for the Army. Nothing piss off a bunch of Army guys during the Army-Navy game.
Yeah.
When I planted my Navy flag on my Army desk. And, so that's what happened. But, it's during the last, my early military career started during Vietnam. I didn't go into Vietnam. I was stationed in Thailand. We did a lot of surveillance and, and stuff. I've seen a lot from the air. My brother was on the ground in the Marine Corps, and he still lives with those memories. So, it's a rough life. It always has been since he came back. But, oh, Lord, where were we going with this?
I was asking, like, I was like, what was it like in the military? And well, I guess the question really was, have you always had these progressive viewpoints, or did that change over time?
I think over the grand scheme of things, I've had them my lifetime, because as we discussed earlier, and I'm not ashamed to say, during my younger years, when I was 13, 14, 15 years old, John got in trouble. Yeah. And I ended up in reform school. And as I was explaining to Brandon, that was before reform came to reform school. You were there basically to work and get your butt beat every day. That's about it. And guards love to set up a fight between this guy and that guy. Let's just have some fun. Yeah. That kind of stuff. And it was rough. But I think that taught me empathy. And when I came out of there, 1969, I promised myself I wouldn't go back. And the things that were important in my life didn't just affect my life. And I think I've had that progressive view ever since I was pretty young.
Yeah, that's
awesome. Because you have to have empathy for those around you. This is a great country. We have so much to offer, but yet we still have homeless people on the street. We have homeless veterans on the street. There's a lot more we can do, and we should do. but that all depends on us because we're in the driver's seat, baby. The one that's going to have their hand on the wheel is going to be Kamala Harris, but we're going to be the ones in the back seat giving directions.
Yeah.
And you know how that goes. So
Yeah.
it's, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a feeling like this is your country, baby.
It is.
This is your country.
And we talked too about how that, Donald Trump, I mean, he changed the complete landscape of politics. I don't think it'll ever be the same. There was a time when elections came and went, and you could agree and you could disagree on things, but I've never in my life, before we might have had an election where we were talking about different issues and we wanted our side to win, and if our side lost, we would say, well, okay, what can we do to connect with our crowd better the next time? That's how I always looked at it. But then this go around, I've never went into an election going, this may be our last one.
Yeah.
Our democracy is that threatened. I've never felt that way. And that's why, a lot of people don't understand when they'll say, well, we can just agree to disagree on Trump. I'm like, sorry,
no,
not with him. If you want to agree to disagree with me, we can disagree all day on certain things. But when it comes to Trump, I don't think people understand the seriousness of it because I don't think it hasn't affected them yet.
Right.
But it will, and people like us are trying to just point it out. It's not that we're trying to be divisive or hyperbolic. I get that all the time.
Quite the opposite. I think.
It's the exact opposite.
We, both of us, I think, are in this to try to bring as many people together as we can, and convey that the importance of this moment in history. Obviously, you're not that young. I'm not that young. Mm-hmm. We've seen a lot of shit in our life.
Yeah.
And this goes to the bone. This is a dividing line in our country, but Trump has made it that. And like Brandon was saying, before Trump, we may have known you're Republican. I mean, your neighbor was a Republican. Probably not, though, because it wasn't that prevalent. Nobody, you voted, you paid attention to the issues, but there was not the divisiveness that we have now in this country, to where Donald Trump is trying to pit one state against another state, one friend against another friend, one family member against another family. The most important thing to Trump is Trump.
Yeah.
And he's willing to toss or burn this country to the ground in his glory. And I'm not going to let that happen. And I know all of us are in the same boat with this. We're not going to let this happen. We will stand up for this country. And shit, I can't wait 9 more days.
9 more days,
I gotta get home in a few more days.
Yeah, no joke. And
I make it a point where I live, especially with the attention nowadays that I've brought to myself. No, I want to walk into that fire station, baby, and vote in person. I want every one of them to see me walk in there.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I early voted for the first time ever. I've never early. Well, I have early voted in non-presidential elections.
Right.
Every presidential election, I kind of like to be there on that day. But this go around, I was like, you know what? I want to get it in there, and I want to be home on election day, and I just want to sit back and watch. Tell
the truth, to think it'll take me 2 minutes to go vote.
Yeah.
Nobody's there. Very few people are going to be there. So.
Yeah. But we got a hell of a crowd in here. We got over 1,700 people. So, man, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm so excited to have the Blue Dot from Texas visit Tennessee. We got a T for Texas and a T for Tennessee today. So
I think they wrote a song.
I think they did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. So it's actually, believe it or not, that's the first song I ever sang in front of an audience.
Really?
So maybe it was meant to be.
T for Texas.
Yeah.
John sings a lot.
Yeah.
But not in front of a microphone. By the way, I do play an instrument.
Oh, cool.
The cajon. You know what a cajon is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what I sit on a box and I tap on it. That's what people who don't know how to play music do.
Yeah.
Give me the cajon, I'll play that.
Yeah. But yeah, we want to thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thanks for all the donations that came through, and thanks for all the blue hearts. And we're going to be hanging out here for a little while, and then I'm going to go show John around town. So we may have some more videos that we can post for you later. But it's just so great, man, to sit and talk with you. When I started doing this, I didn't realize all the people I was going to meet along the way, and all the friends I was going to make along the way.
Yeah.
And
you make enemies.
Yeah.
But you make a whole lot more friends.
Exactly. And like you said, there is a price to do what we're doing. You're gonna piss off people in your hometown, but then, you went around this country and people's been saying, hey, there's the Blue Dot. And so I think we have to keep pushing forward, and we're on the right side of history. I tell my listeners that all the time. I'm like, listen, regardless, we're on the right side of history. I feel that, and I know
it. Baby, I'm going to be proud of my vote.
Yeah.
And I want you to be proud of yours.
Exactly.
But I have a feeling we're going to win.
Yeah. And so many people, I've seen more people saying this, and it needs to be repeated, is you don't have to tell people how you vote.
No.
There's a lot of people that thinks if you vote, you have to immediately go announce it. And if someone says, why did you vote the way you did? You don't owe them anything.
No. As a matter of fact, we were discussing earlier, I think there's going to be a whole lot of people that are got to be publicly saying they're for Trump, but when they walk into that booth,
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a different story.
I really believe that. I think I know some people. I won't throw them under the bus, but I just know some people who I'm like, you're not going to.
I do too.
Yeah, like you're going to walk in there and vote for Kamala Harris and walk back out, and you won't admit it at the Sunday dinner table.
No, not where I live.
And see, something too, man, that I've thought about so much is how that Trump. I've never seen a candidate like Trump in the sense that he doubles down on the extremism. He pushes everybody away, and it's so weird because he tells everybody we're winning, but at the same time it's rigged.
Yeah.
If I was in his audience, I'd be going, wait a minute, if we're winning, how's it rigged? None of that makes sense to me.
See, that's the part that gets me.
Yeah.
Is he says a lot of things that audience ought to be going, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Besides that, half what comes out of us nowadays is dribble anyway.
Yeah.
You can't follow a man coherently for any length of time. He goes off on a tangent every 5 seconds. But the most important thing to Trump is Trump.
Yeah.
The most important thing to Kamala Harris is this country and the democracy that we live in.
Absolutely.
So just, it's an easy choice, baby, in my book.
And every other politician I've ever seen has always said, guys, get out and vote. It's close. We got to get over the hump. And he's over here going, we've got this one. We've won it all. And you don't even have to vote. That's what blows my mind.
He's already set it up for, they cheated.
Yeah.
Because, we were so far ahead or something like that, and that's what it's going to be. I told Brandon earlier, the deal about this election is if Kamala wins, wait a minute, I said that wrong. Oh, yeah, I said if Trump wins, oh, shit. Mm-hmm. If Kamala wins, oh, shit. Because he's going to go ape. This is not going to be an easy transition from Joe Biden to Kamala Harris. It's going to be full of a little bullshit that's going to go on. I don't think it's going to rise to the level of January 6th. I don't think he was be able to convince that many people to do stupid shit. But don't think for a minute that there's going to be little pockets of crap across this country that people are going to try to pull, or I don't know. But it's not going to be an easy transition.
I can just so see the guy just having a complete and total meltdown. I think I really can because he's got such a huge ego. That he threw a fit the first time, but then to lose a second time to a black woman, me too. I'm loving it too.
Meltdown.
Oh yeah, I just want to see him, just completely do one of those like the wrestler Ric Flair used to do those meltdowns and like take his ring and beat his head till it bled and elbow drop his jacket. That's what I want to see him do. I just want to see Trump go completely through the roof. Just sit back and watch him melt.
It will, but don't think for a minute that
Yeah.
Oh Lord, I had a perfect thought in my head, and just all of a sudden, squirrel ran by and it went right out.
Man,
that's the way it is right now.
I do that all the time. That's why I don't really ever I don't give someone a hard time too much about their cognitive decline, because I'll be talking to my mom and I'll be mid sentence telling her a story, and then just go, "What was I saying?
Drop
what
right
was
out
that?"
of the head.
It just goes. But we're having a great time sitting here with John Brideaux, the Blue Dot from Texas. I'm so glad you made it. It's such a small world. I knew you told me you were coming to Knoxville, which Knoxville's a city that when people comes to Tennessee, they either go to like Nashville, Memphis, Knoxville, Chattanooga. They're going to go. They're going to go to one of those. So I was like, okay, he's near Knoxville. But then when you told me where you were, I was like, whoa, I pass by it all the time. So I'm just so glad you made it, man. And let me think here for a second. Yeah, you're the first guest I've sat down with like this on a video. I interviewed
haven't had one.
Yeah, I interviewed Gloria Johnson in person once. It was audio only.
Right.
But I do believe this is the first video where I've sat down next to someone. So.
Well, now I've done a few with Beto O'Rourke. I've done several with him.
Oh wow!
But only on the trail,
Yeah.
It got to the point where he knew who I was.
Yeah.
Because I'd be in line to see him, and he'd look over there and go, and point to me. My ego, I know.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I still can't wrap my mind around that sometimes. Like when I go somewhere and somebody points me out, especially someone like that, and you're like, or a celebrity messages you to tell you good job. You're like, what the hell? Like,
I'm still that. I always look at myself. I'm nobody. I'm no different than anybody listening to this right now. The only difference is that Tennessee Brideaux and a Blue Dot in Texas decided to turn on the camera and speak your mind.
Yeah.
And but we're no different than anybody else out there.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
I'm happy right
Yeah.
now with the progression that this country has made in the last years. That's how come I'm pretty damn confident that Kamala's going to win. But I'm not overly confident the fact that there's a slim chance, I guess, he could pull it out.
Yeah.
And that's what has to worry every one of us. So.
Yeah, it really does. I tell them all the time, we just got to keep focused and keep pushing forward. And even after the fact, I don't know, man, in our lifetime, I don't want to be pessimistic here or doom and gloom in no way, but I just think it's going to take years to repair the damage that he did. And I don't even know if it's going to be irreversible. It feels like trying to put toothpaste back in a tube at this point.
Somebody told me the other day, well, I guess after the election, your show's over. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No. There's going to be turmoil for years to come. This isn't going to go away easily. But we have to keep fighting because it is the Republican Party that needs to change. It is not the Democratic Party or our values or our ideals that we left on the wayside. No, this is the Republican Party that has to clean up their shit. They have to clean their house, and they have to remind themselves that this is a great country and not a garbage can.
Exactly.
And until they do that, then we're gonna have Trumpers for years.
Yeah, we will.
But eventually, they'll fade away, and for all the little racists and other little maggots, they can go crawl back under their rock. They can close their garage doors so we don't have to see their rebel flag or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And on my street, I still see that, baby.
Yeah.
It pisses me off when I drive down my street and I see a guy with the American flag, the Texas flag, and right behind it the Confederate flag. Are you shitting me?
Yeah.
Pick a side. It's been that long. So.
Yeah, we see that a lot around here. We'll see it'll be a Trump flag, a Confederate flag, but it's almost like a lot of times like the American flag has took a back seat to all those.
Yes.
They took the
especially
American
to the Trump flag.
Yeah.
Are you shitting me? Come on, man.
I have never had a flag with a politician's name on it.
No.
I've never owned one. I've had a bumper sticker on a guitar case before, but I've never had I'm looking around. I don't have no merch. Like I don't. It's like
I ate in a restaurant yesterday, a little place that has the American flag up there with Trump as Rambo. Come on,
man. Like that's the one part I'll never understand.
where does that come from?
I don't know how fragile you got to be to share that. Like, I mean, and he puts out like, did you see the image he reposted of himself like as a Pittsburgh Steelers football player with ripped with muscles, like that's man. I'll never understand that.
Where does that? What amazes me more is the people that buy that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just soak it up. Trump trading cards or whatever it is. That's what Trump is. He's a salesman. He's always going to sell some kind of bullshit to somebody.
Yeah.
And the fact is right now he's trying to sell this country out. And I point out all the time, all you have to do is look at when he was in office last time. He went around NATO kicking people in the shins, trying to get rid of them. He supported Putin every which way he could. This is not a man who stands up for the American ideals in this country. No.
Not at all.
This man would sell us out in a heartbeat. But hey, we're not going to let that shit happen, so.
Exactly. It's so crazy to me, man. The level of I really give a lot of thought behind it, and I thought, okay, if you were going to rise up as a fascist, if you were going to become a dictator, then you would have to convince the dumbest of people that you were smart.
Oh yeah.
Because if you the problem is you can't lead smart people in that same manner because smart people sees through it.
Right.
If someone came along and started trying to manipulate me and you, I'm not saying we're like geniuses or anything. I feel like I'm just a dude with average intelligence. But if someone tried to lead us in a certain direction, we're going to balk at that. You can't, and a lot of times I think it's a strength on the left, and sometimes it gets in our way when we're not as easily led and manipulated, so we'll disagree with each other. Back in 2016, I had friends that was, for Bernie, and I was too. I mean, I was for Bernie until Hillary became the nominee, and then I realized
I was for Bernie right up to the time Hillary became the nominee, and I'm committed.
But back then we were divided more so, and I remember some pretty heated arguments with some friends back then about Bernie and Hillary. And I'm not trying to flex, but years later, I had some of those same friends message and go, "Man, I can't believe I had that argument with you." And now we're united. Those same friends that was that was divided back then over that, I have to say now they're like, no, man, we're solidly behind Harris and Walz. And that makes me feel better.
True.
I don't think it's for the people that says this is 2016 all over again. I have so many people that, and I'm sure you do too, they message and they're worried, and rightfully so. You should be, honestly. But I say it's not 2016 because back then when Trump was doing his whole shtick, back then he could get away with saying locker room talk. He could say that back then. Right. Well, now the guy's been found liable.
Just a guy, regular guy.
Exactly. Well, now he's been found liable of sexual abuse, and he defamed the victim. So it's like you can't really use that locker room talk thing anymore. And there's not the division on the left between the Bernie bros and the Democrats. So I feel like we're going to win pretty convincingly. And yeah, they're going to scream and kick and cry and moan. But I think something too when it comes time for the Republicans to start rebranding themselves, I'm just not going to let some of them off the hook, man. Because they empowered this crap for so long. Me and Coach D talked about it the other night. We're not going to allow them to get off the hook. When J.D. Vance tries to go back and say, well, like I said, I was never a Trump guy. We're going to go, no, you were.
When we were playing that game,
you were. And I think we have to hold him accountable.
A man who really sold out. J.D. Vance. I'm just, nothing points to the fact that some people will just sell their soul out totally. Than J.D. Vance. And the question is, do you really want that man to become president?
Oh, man.
I don't think so, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, Lordy, this is it is. This election is by far the most important. I tell people all the time, my mistake was Nixon. That's how far back I go. Yeah, Nixon's my man. Boy, how the shit did that turn out bad? So no, ever since then, I pay attention to who's in that house. And so we all have to pay attention. We all have to fight this fight. And I'm glad y'all are in it. Just the pure numbers that are watching tonight tells me those numbers wouldn't be that big if people weren't concerned about this country and willing to fight for it. So I want to thank everybody that is tuning into those donations. That goes a long way because, like we said, there's a price to pay for this shit. And so those donations go a long way in helping.
We really appreciate it, and we appreciate it so much. We went over 2,000 a couple of times here, John. So that's pretty awesome.
Outstanding.
And I was on the fence as to how I was going to go about presenting this. I was like, I'm going to say mystery guest to get everybody talking, but I knew you had been out there saying you may stop by and see me, so I was like,
proud, baby.
we were going to create a little bit of a
show. Are you shitting me?
Yeah. But I was so happy, man, and I am that you made it. There's just so much. Hell, like I sit here and go the rest of the day talking, and I really appreciate all the people for tuning in. But like you said, you've went across this country, and as you've went across the country, I know you said that you've had people being nice to you, and you've seen a lot of things. But are you feeling good about where we're headed as far as the election goes? Do you saw enough Harris Walz support or felt it anyway? Or?
Oh, yeah. Again, you caveat that by saying you've seen lots of Trump signs, lots of Trump flags because they're idiots, and I don't know. No, I think here's the thing: when you get near a city, you see more Harris Walz.
Yeah.
If you get out in the country, you're going to see some Trump signs out there. You're going to see plenty of them. As a matter of fact, we've seen a huge one on the way here. Yeah. On the side of a 18-wheeler or something. I don't know.
I know which one you're talking about. That's the one where he's getting up, pumping his fist in the air. Oh, and something I got.
Like a badass.
Not to cut you off, but I drove by that several times. And like, oh God! And then one day I thought it said "Make America Great Again" above it. It doesn't. It says "Make gas great again."
Make gas great.
Make gas. I don't know. How do you do?
No, we're the number one producer of oil and gas in the world. You know that? Yeah, where I live, we pump it out like nothing. That's. I don't know. He's going to have some kind of slogan. He'll come up with something else that caters to, they make gas great again. Well, half the Republicans think, we have to buy all our gas from Saudi Arabia. Yeah. Not the case, baby. Not the case.
I saw a sign too, and if we go out later driving around, I'll show it to you. It's right out the road from me. There's a sign that says Trump was right about everything. And I was like, you know what? That's probably where they're going to go next. It's just going to be like, we were right all along. They'll say that. They'll say that from now on.
It's just terrible. Buildings are burning, and people are don't buy that shit.
Yeah, and I used to. I remember years ago having arguments with the Republicans, and they would accuse the Democrats of being the party of victims, like that we were like the party of victimhood, and we were looking. We were looking for a handout and all these things. Yeah. And I've always said, no,
They still try to sell that.
they still try to sell that, but I've always said we weren't looking for a handout. We just wanted people to have a better hand to play in this world.
That's it.
And it's more, the Republican way has always pretty much been, I've got mine, I've got what I need, and screw you. You know what I mean? That's basically it.
It starts off, we the people.
Yeah.
Not screw you, I got mine.
Exactly. And it's always, I say that, we're people that looks around at other people and their struggles and wants everyone to have a fair shake in this world.
That's all.
That's all it is. It's not like, when he says radical left, I'm like, we're over here just wanting people to be taken care of.
I want you to have health care.
I want you to have health care, yeah.
Or have a decent living.
Yeah.
Let your kids grow up in a more safe environment or something. Yeah, it's what we all want.
Yeah.
And that's what's driven this country all this time.
Yeah.
Over 247. Where are we at? 247.
Yeah, we're up there, man.
Yeah, we're up there.
Yeah,
But
and
as a nation, still young.
yeah,
So other empires have fallen before. So we got to make this stand. And that is the biggest stress that I do on my show and on Brandon's show, and I'm sure Texas Paul. Everybody is in this for the same thing. Mm-hmm. The love of this country and what we're willing to do to keep it as a democracy. We can't be the generation that lets this fall down the wayside. We all have to be in this fight. We all need every vote that we can muster. Talk to your friends, your family if we can. Whatever it is that you can do. Not everybody's out for turning on a microphone and a camera.
Yeah.
But we all influence somebody in our life. So,
I've often told my listeners too, go ahead and share my video with your Fox News watching uncle. I don't care to be the guy that pisses him off. If I could help him, think. I had a guy I was telling you before we came on the air. I have people walk up to me in public. You Tennessee Brideaux, and you never know how it's going to go. I'm always braced for the worst. And so I had a guy walk up to me in a store one day, and he's like, "Hey, are you Tennessee Brideaux?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I follow you on YouTube and TikTok." And I was like, "Well, thanks for that." He's like, "Well, I don't agree with nothing you say," like that. And I said, "Well," I said, "That's all right."
Actually, that's a big compliment.
Yeah, but here's what he said. He said, "I don't agree with anything you say, really, but you do make me think, and I want to thank you for that."
There you go.
And I was like, "Well, that's all I'm trying to do. It's really
not
just
piss anybody off.
Yeah.
I just want you to realize your mistakes. No. I want you to live by the words you tell me when you tell me that you love this country.
Yeah.
Well, you can't love half this country. You can't love half the people in this country. We're all in this same boat together. What's that old saying? Tide lifts all boats, baby.
Yeah.
That's all we're trying to do.
It's one of those things too, and I'm sure you feel the same way. I care about the people that lives around me. I care about these people here. I really do.
Even the ones that hate me.
Even the ones that hates my guts, I still care. And it's like, and there's still that little bit of Southerner in me I can't kick all the way. And that is, if I see someone that ain't from here, like belittling them, it's almost like, then I'm like, hey, wait a minute, hold on. I'll deal with this. Let me deal with this. It's kind of almost like the Ronnie Van Zant thing when he called out Neil Young. It was kind of like you're from Canada, let me handle it. It's like, but no, I sometimes, I don't think they understand that in my mind, I'm really defending and taking up for them more than they may realize. They look at it like, well, you're making us. I've had people say, you make me feel stupid. I'm not trying to make you feel stupid. I'm trying to point that this guy here is grifting and conning you. And I grew up with you, and I don't want to see our part of the world be bastardized and manipulated. When I see these flags and this merch, it's just like
democracy is not a product.
Yeah, and down here where you've seen where we live, and he pointed it out to me, how beautiful it is, and I take it for granted because I'm here all the time. But down here, we're brought up, and we're from early age, we're took to church, taught to believe in God, and we're in the woods with our fathers and uncles and grandpas hunting, and we got guns, and then along comes the Republican Party and says, hey, the Democrats are out to get everything that you ever believed in. They're out to take your gun, take your God, and everybody's coming for you. And they present that stuff in a way that causes people in my part of the world to then turn and vote right against their own interest. They're sitting there, they can't figure out how to pay their bills, they can't figure out how to get the operation they need, or their grandmother's sick and they can't get help, and they're like, why can't? And I'm over here going, because you got focused in on this merch that this guy was selling.
That's it.
To get you to turn you against your turn you against your own interest. And so that's what I try to get across a lot of my videos, because I don't want to come off like I'm trying to talk down to the people in my part of the world or talk to them as though they're stupid. It's like, just wake up.
Just wake up. Just show me. I always say this about, don't tell me you're a Christian, show me. Mm-hmm. And it's the same way about being, don't tell me you're a patriot.
Yeah.
Show me you're a patriot. And you do that by helping your fellow man, by caring about the others in this country. That's the way we all, every time I've come across this country, and we've come from, went from Pikes Peak over to the east over here in the Blue Ridge Mountains. And I'm looking out, seeing all this scenery. Mm-hmm. And the first thing that comes to my mind when I'm out in the country is, oh my Lord, how did these people get through here with covered wagons? The first people that settled this country. And the work they had to do just to make a mile through some of this stuff. And yet here we are, advanced as we are, but not near as advanced as we're going to be. I look forward to wondering about what the things my son's going to see and learn by the time he's 71. And so keep that in mind. We're not so much working for ourselves. We're working for those that are going to come behind us.
Yeah.
And that's what this fight is about. That's why we're in it. That's why I'm in it. Because I kind of like democracy, where we all have a say in the thing,
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what I was saying about cities, I think the reason there's more Democrats in cities is because you're forced to live in a situation where it's blended.
Yeah, exactly.
You have Republicans, you have Democrats, you have different races, you have different religions. Everything is in those cities, in the surrounding suburbs. You're put into that situation, and I think people come to the realization that, you need a helping hand, whether you realize it or not. Anything from your public library to your local medical center. Those are all services. The roads you drive on, those, we pay taxes for it, but it's for the benefit of society. And, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the people that thought I've seen a lot of Neil Young comments going by. I was in no way bashing Neil Young with what I said a minute ago. I'm a huge fan. Actually, it was Skinner that got me into Neil Young.
You was telling me about the music you was playing earlier.
Yeah, it was. But no, I consider them both heroes. I really feel like that. Back then they could have their disagreements and were still friends in real life. And still, Neil Young actually, a lot of people don't know this, but he had actually written 3 songs and sent them to Skinner to cover. And they were going to, but they didn't end up putting one on that Street Survivors album, and they said they'd get one on the next album, and then the plane crash happened. Oh. So had they survived, Ronnie Van Zant would have sang a Neil Young tune. Back then, you could have disagreements, and you could that was before the Trump years. But I definitely, he's one of my biggest heroes in music. Neil Young is. I love his guitar playing. I love how raw and just edgy it is when he plays electric guitar. And I love how then he can flip on a dime and play some finger picking acoustic. But yeah,
I wish I had that talent. I don't. But I sing, and I don't care who listens to me.
Well, that's the whole point. You got to sing like no one's listening.
That's right, baby. That's right.
But yeah, we've had a great time, and thank you guys so much for tuning in here today. I hope everyone's doing well. We've had a great crowd, and I'm so glad that John got to stop by. It's been a really good time. We got a few more minutes here before we go. If anyone has a question and we can find it, I'll bring it up on the screen. But we're both very grateful to have you here today. I'll be sure to tag his YouTube channel. It's a blue dot in Texas. I'll be sure to get that in there. And you guys go over and subscribe to his channel. Make sure you're subscribed because it's so easy nowadays, really. Like for the longest time until I started doing this, I didn't necessarily hit the subscribe button. I didn't really know what it even meant. I just looked at a video, and my YouTube the For You page would just kind of feed me what I'd been watching. Right. Yeah. And then one day my mom and dad was like, "Am I subscribed to you?" And I was like, "I don't know." Because you just kind of go in there and look. But it just, it helps get the word out. It helps get the message out. It helps boost the algorithm. If someone, if you don't feel like commenting or saying a whole lot, you leave a little blue dot or a little blue heart.
You know what we say on my show?
What's that?
Share this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you do. You share this shit. With
Absolutely.
And put that link out there and spread the news. We got 9 days, baby. 9 days. And boy, howdy shit. We're going to have a whole lot to talk about in those days.
Yeah, we'll be picking up the pieces for a long time, man. We really will. And I know there's just going to be so much. I've had people say the same thing you said earlier. I've had people say, "What's your content going to be about once he's gone?" I was like, "He ain't going nowhere." No. I mean, even if Kamala Harris serves the next 8 years, we're still going to be dealing with him and his people, and that mentality. And, you know, the thing is, for the longest time, man, there was a time period where there's always been conspiracy theorists out there. There's always been those type of people. Sure. They've always been there, but they just weren't given a microphone. And I always go back to that moment in the John McCain town hall when the lady stood up and was like, you know, Barack Obama's a Muslim and I'm afraid of him. And McCain took the mic from her. And he said, "No, ma'am."
That was integrity.
Yeah, he said, "No, ma'am. He's not. He's a good man. I'm just running against him because we have disagreements on politics." That's one of the last moments of integrity in the Republican Party.
The last time. Yeah.
And then Donald Trump handed the microphone to that woman and cranked the volume up wide open and just let him have
That's
it.
exactly what happened.
And so
I couldn't have been more prouder than John McCain at that moment.
Yeah, and I, you know, I didn't vote for him, but I respected him and I respected that moment and appreciated it.
Well, wouldn't we like to live back in that time?
Exactly. And look how fast this happened too, man. That's something I think about all the time. Look how fast it happened. Once he got a hold of it and figured out how easily he could manipulate it, once he got it in his hands, look how fast the hammer came down. And then you've got these politicians like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert and all the ones that are trying to emulate that. Now, I think once he's gone, I don't think they'll be able to hold it up by themselves because they're just clowns.
So. Come on, George's 14th district, get rid of that woman.
Absolutely.
Better than that. I know you are.
I know they are too. And so, yeah, these people, there'll be people, I think after this is all over, you're going to see people that'll try to rebrand. Yeah. They'll try to say they were never for him. They'll try to back away from it and try to act like they never owned that crappy merch. I'm not going to let them. Nope. And then there's going to be the ones I think like Marjorie Greene and those. They'll try to double down and see if they can't make that act work for them, and they'll just look really dumb doing it, which they already are. No change.
The same for them.
But I'm always making boxing analogies on the show, and I was like, you know, back in the day, and I'm in no way comparing these people to the great Muhammad Ali here when I say this, but, you know, Ali had a style of boxing that later on people tried to emulate that and just got knocked stupid. You know, they would try to do that float like a butterfly, and they didn't realize that what the chin he had on the other end of that. They tried to do the rope-a-dope, but didn't realize how well-conditioned he was. And so I think there's going to be people that's going to go out there, they're going to try that style, and they're going to get knocked.
Just like Trump.
Yeah, and they're going to get knocked out.
Get knocked out because you're not Trump. You're not never. Let's hope there is never another Trump to come upon our country. But again, diligence, baby. We always have to be mindful.
Yeah, we do. Have to keep focused and be mindful, and also, like I was talking earlier about, you know, recognizing when people are talking down to you. We're going to have to keep pointing that out to people because there's going to be. I tell you, when I was watching, did you watch the Vance and Walz debate? Did you get a chance to watch that? Okay,
yes, we did.
I really felt like that Vance at that moment was trying to save his career. I was like, you know what? He's trying to like plant the seeds for how he's going to rebrand because he was trying to be reasonable and be like, yeah, you know, I agree with Tim here. Yeah. I agree. We're very close to agreeing on this. Well, I'm sorry to hear about that, Tim.
Yeah.
He tried to come off that way.
Don't
and I was
you
like,
know Trump was shitting right there.
At the same time, Trump was having a meltdown on Truth Social. This is unfair. This is rigged. Yeah. So he was already trying to plant those seeds, but I'm not going to, you know, to anyone that's like, well, Vance seemed more reasonable right there. No, he's still playing you. It's still, he's still trying to, in every way.
I don't know who's going to emerge from the Republican Party that has any integrity left. You know, I just can't see it. Mitt Romney's, I don't think he's going to have it in him again. John McCain's gone.
Yeah.
You know, the people that you could look up into the Republican Party and again, admire while still disagreeing with the politics. That's going to be harder to go back to now because this is such, there should not have been such a difference in, what's the word I'm looking for? People's, you know, how they accepted Donald Trump. I just don't understand that. And I never will. The man hates this country. He says it all the time.
Yeah. Says he hates it, simultaneously accusing us of hating it. Like calls it a garbage can and then says we hate it. It's like says we're a third world country and a shithole, but then we hate it. And it's as though the part that baffles me is it's like it was only great for the 4 years he was there in his mind.
That's it.
Yeah, it was terrible before.
From the day he was inaugurated to the day he left the White House, everything was perfect.
Yeah, and then he got voted out, and now it's back to where we're in a dump again. It's just, it's so clear. And one of the things, I'm going to do a video on this later on. I've been meaning to talk about it because it was just one of those moments that I loved. So he goes on Joe Rogan and sat there for 3 hours. And some people's like, see there, he sat there for 3 hours and talked to Joe Rogan. And I'm like, that's not the flex you think it is. Because what that actually did, it actually hurt him worse than it helped him because it gave him 3 hours to just show what a moron he really is.
He is.
And so they're talking about the election, talking about 2020, and Joe Rogan has this moment. I love this. Joe Rogan's like, so I'm going to give you the chance right now to explain how the 2020 election was stolen, because the mainstream media always tries to cut you off. They always try to silence you. So tell us how this happened. And then he couldn't. And then so Joe Rogan's like, so how did that happen? So he's like, they stole it, Joe. Well, how'd they do it? Well, they just did. If you take a look at it, take a look at what he did try to pin him just a little bit there. And there was one point where he's like, well, are you ever going to present this? And Trump literally during headlines like, and he just completely loses it for a minute because he doesn't have it. It's not there. And I was like,
it never has been there.
It's never been there. He will never present that evidence. He'll never bring it out because it ain't there.
It's just not there.
And I mean, here's the thing I've always said to people too. Can you imagine if it was there? Do you realize how many people would be pouncing on that to go, this is the story of a lifetime?
The biggest in history.
It'd be the biggest in history. I mean, every news organization. It's not like that these people saw this and went, yeah, we're not going to cover that. It's like
the biggest scandal in history, but no, that's okay.
No,
it would have been all over it.
It would have
had the slightest indication.
Yeah.
And what did they find? A couple people across the country misvoted or voted illegally or whatnot like that.
Yeah.
But Brandon, we have to watch out for all the migrants that have come in the last several days because they've all been registered to vote and they're all going to vote for Trump for Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah. All that bullshit. Our voting system is one of the most secure in the world. I have confidence in my vote. We've never had a problem with that, and until Trump came along, and all of a sudden, oh Lord, everybody cheats. Yeah. And don't fall for that shit.
I'll tell you what. Before we go here, I just want to real quick thank our members and people with donations. So I usually bring them up on the screen, but guys, you have swamped us today, so I'm just going to call out the names as we go. I want to say a special thanks to Pam, also to Vol Queen, to Beth, to Kurt, to Sharon, to Carol.
You can read that?
Yeah, I believe it or not, I don't know how I can do it. Now, there's a name, I'm sorry I can't pronounce that, ASBJEERN. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but thank you so much. Jeff Davis, thanks for being here again. Ed, Daniel, Jeanette, Kim, Drew, Silly Bebo.
Oh, Silly Bebo.
Oh, awesome. Summer, Diane, and I am having a hard time reading this, honestly. Shaking my bones.
Shaking me bones.
Yeah.
Hi, baby. How you doing? I'm glad to see you.
Yeah.
That's my daughter.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Stella. Looks like Kit, Kirk, and there's another one from the name I couldn't pronounce. I'm sorry you've donated twice. I couldn't pronounce your name, but thank you so much for doing that. David. Then we have Stamp and Stitch, Mama G, Sharon, still alive. Kirk again, Helen, Silver Unicorn Dragon, Stoneflower, Ken, Sharon, Kirk again, Ellie, man, we're rolling here today, and Victor, and all right now. So if I missed anybody, I'm sorry, but thank you guys so much for all your help and your donations, gifting of the memberships. Those things always help. We do put out a lot of members-only content. Me and John here I'm going to show him around the Cumberland Gap a little bit, and we may have some more videos that'll come out later for that. We'll take him and show him some sites. And so you guys just be sure to keep tuning in. Be sure to go over and follow John's channel, The Blue Dot from Texas, or wherever. And where else can they find you besides YouTube?
You can find me on Facebook under my name, John Brideaux, and on TikTok and YouTube under Blue Dot in Texas. I think it shows up on Instagram. My son takes care of a lot of that, so I don't know where I am.
Yeah.
But let me send out also a thank you to my Blue Dot family. Like I said, y'all know why I'm on this trip. I would not have been able to make this trip had it not been for the donations that were sent to me from my Blue Dot family. I can't say thank you enough for all that you've done for me and my family. And I'm sure Tennessee Brideaux looks at every one of you the same way. It's like family. Those donations that y'all send in, you sometimes don't know what difference that makes in your life. And so we really appreciate every one of you that sent in a donation tonight. Other than that, baby, let me just say the standard line I always say. Try to put a smile on your face, baby, and give that shit away because somebody needs it. And baby, be proud to step up and make that vote this time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And man, it's been great having you. And we're gonna go around the
I'm the
Cumberland
one
Gap.
that should be bragging on this shit. To see Brideaux, baby.
I'm so glad you made it, man. We're gonna have fun, and you guys be on the lookout for some more videos. And it just thank you so much for tuning in. You guys are the best, and it's Blue Dot from Texas and Tennessee. So we're so glad to be here with you. Hopefully, I'll make it out to Texas one day, and
I'd love it.
we'll do it again. That's what I want to do next year. I'm hoping to travel more, so I have to swing by.
I can't encourage you enough to do that. I enjoyed
Absolutely.
the trip that we're on. Like I said, I've traveled this country, baby. We're not a garbage can.
We're not.
We can be proud of every inch of this country. So,
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you later. Take care of yourself. We love y'all.
see y'all later.